everyone. So nice to see everyone. It's Monday, April 21, 6 o'clock, our regular meeting of the City Council of Calamasa. If I have some speakers slips here, if anyone wants to speak, be sure to give them to me. And at this point, we'll ask for a roll call, please, starting.
Councilmember Cundiff,
Here.
Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Manley,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cervantes,
Here.
Mayor Molina.
I'm here, I believe. I assume my back out, so I'm just moving slowly. Okay, if you'll all join me in standing so we can pledge allegiance and honor our flag and country. Ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we start with our communications from the public, I'd like to acknowledge some special guests in the audience from Yucaipa Valley Water District, Niles O'Hara and Joyce McIntyre, former mayor of Calamasa. Thank you for coming tonight. Okay, so let's get started. Joyce, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, staff. Joyce McIntyre, whoa, I think I'm breaking your thing. Joyce McIntyre, Yucaipa Water District. I'm here to remind you of our Yucaipa Valley Water District tour. It will be hosted by the Yucaipa Valley Water District staff and us. It will be a facility tour for the elected officials, commissioners, staff members on Friday, May 16 from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. The tour will include a visit to the Yucaipa Valley Regional Water Filtration Facility and the Wackles Regional Water Recycling Facility. Tour attendees will get to see the newly installed power equipment and expanded treatment process currently under construction. Space is limited, so we encourage people to register early for the event. For more information, you can call the district office at 909-797-5117. It begins at Crystal Creek Water Facility on Oakland Road, and that's in Yucaipa, and it's off Oakland Road in Bryant Street. And you will be getting flyers if you haven't already received them to your emails. I just want to remind you, everybody. It's going to be a great tour.
Thank you. We love seeing you here. We wish you would come more often and give
Thank
us
you.
updates. We try to go to your meetings because we're partners. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mayor.
Now, Sid, you want to say anything? Since you're all dressed up.
Yeah, Honorable Mayor, Council, thank you for taking the time, and just want to echo the words that Joyce said. Thank you for the consideration of your kind words. Yes, it's exactly that. We are partners. We have an obligation, us here, to our constituents to provide a resource. That's what we do. And I know that as we continue to collaborate together, we're going to have great success. The Yucaipa Calamasa, we are a small community, right, but we are mighty. And so thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you guys. And also there's going to be food, so show up hungry. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Donna?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Donna Johnson from the Californian. I would like to reiterate the statements that I have made in the past, plus some new ones. We voted for the city council members because we believed in you. We believed in you. We believed that you would be there for the citizens and that you would have empathy and consideration and concern. And the owner of the Californian has made life so bad for us. And now with the filing that he has done through City Hall, that if you would look at that filing very, very, very closely because it's not fair, it's not reasonable, and it's not true. And so please, I beg of you to pay attention to everything that is in that filing. I know he didn't get 51%, but as they say, he could go ahead with health and safety, but there's nothing wrong with the room, so I don't know how that would work. He's going all the way back to 2022 when he didn't even own this mobile home park, and trying to get that money passed through. And they're bullying. We're working with elder abuse because they're bullying the residents in the park, especially elderly renters. So please, please do your homework. Really, really look at this before you make a decision on his behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Elizabeth.
Good evening, council members. My name's Elizabeth Bishop, and I also live at the Californian, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you again. I'm going to be redundant, and I apologize, but it bears repeating. As Donna said, a lot of the things that he has written in what you've received, 68 pages, I believe, a lot of those invoices, if you look at them, as Donna said, are prior to him owning the park. You'll notice the name of Laura Ballantyne, the previous owner. You'll notice the names of Trish and Jeff Pratt, the previous managers prior to the sale to this owner, and those receipts that he's trying to pass through. A lot of the things that he has noted, the paving of the park, grant money was in place with the utilities for that conversion. That money should have come from the previous owner to him through the sale of the park. That was his responsibility to do the due diligence. The lighting in the park is still insufficient to my way of thinking to meet a health and safety and standard, to meet the law of safety and security in the park. You can look down my end of the park at night and it's black, it's dark. I have packs of coyotes running through my backyard. There's no lighting, there's no deterrence, it's motion detected. I ask you, you own your own home, okay? I'm assuming many of you own your own home. I don't know if you live under a homeowners association. If you do, then you understand what it's like to have somebody tell you what you can and cannot do with your home, okay? It's disconcerting. It's upsetting. A lot of the people in this park are still paying on their homes. If we lose rent control, we lose the stabilization board, we lose a majority rule rather than one, it's detrimental to us. It's detrimental to us. And the risk of us actually having to move out of a home that we still have to pay for is very real and frightening. And I don't know if you can put yourself in my shoes to be facing that, but it is scary. I have nowhere to go. I have no family out here to rely upon. If I lose my home, I'm homeless. And I'm not saying that to create some sort of panic or anything. That's the reality. And I'm asking you all, please, when you look at these proposals and you consider getting rid of the rent stabilization board, when you consider these owners being able to do what they're doing, please put yourself in our shoes. Please try and see it and experience it and feel it from our perspective, because that's our reality and we're relying upon you to give that weight. Thank you.
Thank you. Heather.
Hi, thanks, Mayor and Darlene. My name's Heather. I also live at the Californian. And just briefly going through it, we sat down with the book. We do have the letter that says we're supposed to be able to review and copy this at the clubhouse or the office, both of which have been denied. Donna got a short copy that she had to pay $21 to get a flash drive to get it, and it's not even a full copy. but just on the, like the very first few pages, when it just wants to know how many spaces are in the park. 130. He wants how many vacant spaces? 1. Total number of park-owned spaces? 7. Total number of leased spaces in the park? He put 0. There's 4 on my row to start with that are being rented out. And I know there's several on each row. So he's already lying right off the get-go. Even on here, when he wants to state, well, he didn't know because he didn't own the property in 2022. And he doesn't know what the CPI is because he didn't own the property in 2023. So all of these things that he's wanting, he says that all these amenities are open to us. The pool is still closed half the year. We've already had 85-degree days and we can't get into the pool. It is a community MRL law that says all common areas are supposed to be open to us for reasonable hours, period. And that pool is closed, yet it's cleaned twice a week, and we get to drive by it every day on a beautiful day and just wave at it because they won't let us in. But the clubhouse, the jacuzzi, the shuffleboard room, all these other amenities, it's fine, but not the pool, because they've closed it for half the year for 20 years until I got there and I'm like, oh, what are y'all doing? You need to stop that. That's against the law. And I've been fighting them for 3 years to open this pool. So obviously I'm going to have to take them to civil court to get that open because it's just a law. It's a one-line law, very simple. It must be open for reasonable hours, and it's not. So they just continue to do wrong things, and that's all I have to say. We'll just keep working with Darlene on trying to get a copy of this because this is just the beginning. I just took pictures of what I could, and I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. So like they said, due diligence, it's not that hard. Not with these people. But thanks.
Thank you for coming tonight and thank you for your comments. Our next item is move the agenda and consent calendar. Before we do that, Darlene, did we receive any written comments for the consent calendar items and the regular items? Would anyone like to pull an item to discuss? If so, I'll entertain a
I do.
motion.
Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to request to allow for discussion for our agenda items 6, 9, and 12 before we move to a vote. I believe it's important to take time to review and consider items on this agenda for the council to review.
Which items did you want to pull out?
6, 9, and 12.
Item 12 is not under the consent calendar.
So,
Item 12 is under regular business.
all right. So 6 and 9.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for items 1 through 5 and 7 and 8.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, would you like to speak on item number 6, Edgar?
So item number 6, social media policy. On that one, I just want to make sure that it got written and reviewed pretty well before we proceed with that. Make sure that the systems are interacting with each other.
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
wait,
not
that's,
sure what you're
that's a
talking
whole
about.
different one. Social media,
Okay.
the policy.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that on that end, if legal was able to proceed and review based on that item, just because limitations of freedom of speech and any emails being communicated through social media, sometimes the community are not able to see that type of communication moving back and forth. And I know there's emails that might be exchanged between just the individual itself.
Well, before I hand it to the city attorney, I just want to point out that this was actually primarily written by the city attorney. So
Sounds good. So so the other one was the reason. Who was the one that brought it up for this to be in process, and then the other one for the reason why?
Edgar, are we still on number 6?
Yes, number 6. Yeah, we're still on agenda number 6.
I'll let
the city manager speak to the why.
On the why, yeah.
Let me just return to one point that was
Yes,
raised
please.
about, First Amendment guarantees. Actually, that was one of the things that was vetting very carefully as I worked through this policy, and there are express provisions in there to protect people's freedom of speech when they engage in social media. The policy as a whole is more targeted at the city's use of city-controlled accounts and how that how posts are going to be put up, how the accounts are managed, and to the extent it speaks to the personal accounts of other staff or council members, it's very respectful and just kind of points out some of the guardrails that are already out there in the law, such as due process protections, freedom of speech, and so on.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why I brought it up was because we attended that boot camp, the council member and mayor boot camp, and based on that training, because I was looking at the agenda, it mentioned that even us as council members, we have to put our profile as a personal account when it was actually stated differently at the boot camp when we attended the conference, based on separating your personal account and your official account, which is now that you're officially elected, or any official elected members.
There needs to be a distinction between a personal account and an account where you are actually transacting and discussing city business. If you're discussing city business, that under the law can be considered a public forum for speech that you're engaging in. This policy just simply delineates between having an account as an individual council member or city official, where you're maybe discussing city business, versus speaking on behalf of the city. And it's that latter that this policy is designed to guard against in that regard. So it's a little bit different issue than I think the one that you were being instructed on, which it sounds like that's very good training in my opinion. We were concerned here that individual accounts created and maintained by individual persons, whether they're on the council or just city employees, aren't purporting to speak on behalf of the city, because the city has its own accounts for those purposes.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that end. But yeah, what threw me off was just that as official members here, that we had to put that into our personal account under the title itself. So that's the reason why it got me off guard, based on the training that we attended.
It's basically saying, like, if you have your account, like I know that you have an account for your as a council member, right? It's just basically the council, by adopting the policy, is agreeing to say, if we do that, we're going to expressly state on that profile that this account only represents the views of myself and not the entire city council or the city of Calimesa. And so it's just to keep that distinguishing between, because again, our main primary purpose for social media on the city side, the official city accounts, is to disseminate information to the public. That is the purpose of that.
Yeah, I understand that. And well, I got two Facebook accounts. I got my personal Facebook account and then the elected official account. So when you're creating an account, it tells you what kind of account you're making it for. It's going to be personal use, which one I did, and the second account, which I created, I cannot put in personal use because I'm officially using it as an official account.
Right.
So that's why when I was reading the language, it says to put the personal account, which I cannot change that into a personal account.
I think the distinction is between an individual account versus a city account, and it seems like Facebook
Yeah, it's
draws a
not.
line between
Yeah.
an official, a city official account and a personal account.
It's
Maybe
not
perhaps
based
they're
on the type of account on the platform side. You can have a personal account that's still called a business account or anything like that. It's just if you are utilizing it to communicate as a city council member, then that's a city council account. If you have a personal Facebook page that you're just using to communicate with family and friends, and you're not using it to make commentary on city business, or or as your work as city council member, just as you as Edgar, right? You don't have the distinguishment doesn't matter in terms of personal versus business, but for the one that's saying you're putting yourself as council member Edgar Garcia, that one is the one where you would put that language in there to distinguish it. But as far as the type of account that it is to you, it's irrelevant to us. That's not covered under this policy.
I think if you're setting up an account and it says that per Facebook, this is an official account, that's fine. It's just what this policy is aimed at is making sure that for that official account that you've created, it specifies that it does not speak on behalf of the city as a whole. If you're one council member, or you're one employee of the city, you're not speaking for the city.
Yeah.
That's the personal official distinction there is different than the personal distinction that you're drawing between your two accounts that you control personally.
And the platform is also, I mean, the reason that they distinguish it usually is because of the tools that you have available, right? Like the different types of tools you have to be able to post and to, you know, have privacy settings and things like that. I mean, that's for their purposes to distinguish. I mean, you could set up one that's truly a personal account that's just for family and friends, but it's still called a business account. I have actually friends in my personal life that do that. I think it is a good practice that if you're going to establish a council member account that you're going to use for that purpose, to call it a business account, and then using that personal one. I think the way you set it up is actually perfect. But when for the purposes of the policy, the term personal just means one that's controlled by you as an individual. That's really what it comes down to, and purporting to be a council member.
Okay. Yeah, because it's limited by what we can add and remove on the criteria based on words, because then, you know, you're putting an official, you can't add another topic on their personal account, because it only gives you a certain one option use. Same thing with the description too. You're an elected official for the city of Calimesa, and then depending on the word count, you can run out of word count, and then you can't add anything else. So that was one of the reasons too. The other one was the followers. You don't have control who follows you.
No, and I don't think that's that's not part of this. I think it's just, you know, using. So, for example, where there becomes an issue is if there's a post for a project, let's say a development project that's going to be in front of the council in the future, and someone makes a comment about it, either for or against it, and you react to that under that account. That's where we talk about that you should refrain from doing that kind of thing. As far as people that follow you, there's no restrictions on that. I mean, like you said, to your point, you can't control that, and you're absolutely right. And so, you know, I don't think that this falls under the purview. Followers don't fall under the purview of this policy, from what we can tell.
All right, sounds good. I just wanted to.
And if you or any of the other council members have questions about, you know, the applicability of the policy in a given circumstance, you can contact Will and I, and we can sort it through. You know, this is still an evolving context for everybody. So if this doesn't get it exactly right, that's fine. We can go back and change it. This is not intending to be necessarily overly burdensome. So if there's issues along the way, let us know. We can revisit it.
Yeah, because I'm already kind of, instead of taking a few steps forward, I believe we're taking a few steps backwards, just because, you know, social media, it's, you know, everything's all through social media now. Everybody gets their news, their information through social media, different type of platforms out there. So just based on putting a policy on that, I understand the Brown Act, you know, of course you can't even put in a happy face, because that violates the Brown Act. So, but just providing the news to our residents and even within our community as well too, it feels like we're kind of taking a few steps backwards instead of moving forward with the social media, especially how technology is basically our future and how the city should be moving forward. So that's just one of my concerns. I don't know how the rest of my colleagues feel, but hopefully our next round of council members will be the same, or hopefully get some younger ones in the house as well too. So yeah, I'll leave it with that.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any issues with this item?
I don't have any issues with it. I understand why the policy was put forward. I was at the same training that you were at and that Edgar was at, and I recall them telling us, yeah, freedom of speech, we have that, under your own Facebook account. You know, you have that right, First Amendment right. However, when you create a city council account, yeah, you do have freedom of speech, but there's going to be repercussions if the Brown Act is violated, or if there's other policies or laws that are infringed upon. And so for that reason, I remember them telling us, you know, it's better not to have a personal city council account, which is the exact reason why I don't have one. Anything that the public needs to know about, our city staff can put that out through, you know, the Messenger or through YouTube or TikTok or all the various apps that they have, and I think they do a good job at that. But I don't have an issue with this policy.
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. It doesn't change anything that we've been working toward, what we've been creating with social media, so it's just going to help support, I think, our mission that we've moving, trying to advance the technology of our city, so it's on track with what we've been doing, so.
Thank you, John. Jeff, do you have any comments? No problem. So, do you want to move forward on this and take motion to approve?
Yeah, move forward now with clarification from Will, and that my social account is good with the official one. So yeah, I'll move forward to proceed with this agenda for approval.
Do you want to approve, you want to make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion for approval for agenda number 6.
Dan, will someone second?
Second.
John? Over there.
Yeah.
All agree? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that item passed. Item number 9.
Number 9, I just had a few questions on actually 2 of which were the technician ones. I noticed on the work experience category, they were actually different. I just want to ask the reason why they were different with more follow-up questions.
Well, is this appropriate to speak on this item? His question?
Yes, I mean, it's for consideration for the council's approval. It really is just specific to the type of position. They're both senior level positions, but certain experience levels are needed to achieve a senior within respective categories. And so based on our review of, these were, based on research on other similar positions in other cities, that these job descriptions were created. And so that's where it's very similar to industry practice for other cities with similar type of positions.
But my question wasn't answered based on qualifications. So I'm familiar with job descriptions. I used to make job descriptions in my past work. So I have a good eye on catching certain things.
Edgar,
Yeah.
excuse me, so we can move on. Were your questions answered?
Yeah, so I want to follow with that. If you go into page number 81,
Mm-hmm.
I can explain myself based on this job description.
Okay.
On experience in education, 4 years of increasingly responsible experience proceeding building permits, calculating fees, and issuing permits that require the interpretation and application of rules and regulations. 1 year lead of supervisory experience, highly desirable.
Mm-hmm.
On the education portion, it says equivalent to completion of the 12th grade supplemented by a technical training and planning, plan, check, building inspection, or related field.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a high school diploma or any higher education. Now, if you go to our next one on the senior code enforcement, and these are two of the highest positions based on here on the page 84.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
Any combination of education and experience that has provided the knowledge, skills, and ability necessary for a code enforcement officer. A typical way to obtaining the required qualifications is to possess the equivalent of 3 years of experience in code enforcement, investigation, or performance of the related work, and a high school diploma. The other one does not say that. Or a GED supplemented by a college level courses. The other one does not mentioned that either, or business administration related field. So that's the reason why I was saying. And the other reason is the pay rate. I know the attachment for the pay rate wasn't here, but it does say range 215, but it wasn't provided by the pay scale. A position like this with $5,027 starting point and ending at $6,416 monthly, I believe that it should at least require a associate's degree as a beginning stepping stone.
We would have a very difficult time recruiting for a senior code enforcement position because that's a very technical field. You don't see a lot with associate's degrees that have very knowledge, a lot of knowledge and experience in this field. As far as the high school diploma, that is the intent of saying 12th grade. We can just change the senior permit tech from the equivalent of completion of the 12th grade to just high school. We can change that, but it's meant to be the same thing.
Yeah, I just want to make sure all the job descriptions are aligned with the experience and dedication, just so the city can have the same format instead of just having different words, because it gets kind of technical with certain language when people are applying, and then they can kind of make a call for it based on what they see in here. And we want qualified people too for these high-end positions, because these are good paying positions. So even in any entry level, no one will enter into $5,000 with just a high school diploma. You need to work yourself up. So that's one of the things that I want to just kind of bring together. These are our tax dollars from our residents, and we want to make sure that we do hire qualified individuals for the city of Calimesa. So I just want to make sure that we're putting and including these items on our job descriptions.
Understood.
Can I move to approve item number 9?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, Calimesa Chamber of Commerce report. Lion Tony Phillips.
Well, good evening. A lot being discussed and entertaining. Just want to review the breakfast meeting for the chamber. Each month we have the second Tuesday of the month, we have our breakfast where local businesses and our council are welcome to attend. Actually, anybody's welcome to attend. There's a lot of networking takes place from 7:30 to 8. And we have a presentation by different businesses in the area. In April, we had Craig & Sons Termite and Pest Control. They're a chamber member, and they did a presentation at our breakfast. And actually, you think termite and pest control can't be a lot, right? Well, it was really entertaining. They were both the two presenters. They both one handled the termite side, the other one handled the varmint side, and it was quite entertaining. And some of the talk of how they just get rid of the varmints upset some of the ladies. So it was entertaining.
They had props.
They had props, yeah.
Yes.
It was great. So then this coming month on May 13th at 7:30 at Cafe Royale, our guest speaker will be Anna Baca from Outsourced Accounting Solutions, and she's going to focus on. She was going to focus on the BOI initiative that came out last year and was supposed to be taking effect on April 1st, but that was Congress actually shut that one down, or the Treasury shut that one down. So she has a different subject she's going to talk about. Moving on to the scholarship program, our Calimesa Chamber Foundation has received 19 applications for the scholarship program. Foundation board members are currently reviewing the applications and will be making their selections this week, which brings us to our scholarship tea. Our annual scholarship tea is May 20th at the Edward Dean Museum. It's from 2 to 4 p.m. And Edward Dean, if you're not familiar, is on Oak Glen Road in Cherry Valley. We are currently taking sponsorships for that and reservations. The room should probably fill up, so I expect to get your reservations. But that's actually a really interesting tea, because we get special guest speakers, and we always try to bring back one of our scholarship winners. Last year we had a young lady who was a scholarship winner like 5 years ago, and then she shared how she's moved through college and then into her career, and it was quite informative. The membership side of things, we signed 6 new members this month. We have 10 membership renewals, and our total members are at 118. Any questions for me?
No, thank you.
No?
Your
All right.
meetings are entertaining as well.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming. Okay, this brings us to business items. Item number 10, scheduling of budget workshops, summer meetings of the City Council, and consideration of the possible closure of City Hall during the Christmas and New Year's holidays. Just take it, Charlie.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. So about this time every year we come to speak about summer meetings, scheduling workshops if they're needed, and then considering any closures for the holidays at the end of the year. So I have actually 4 recommendations that I'm asking for. One would be to schedule the 25-26 fiscal year budget study session for May 19th at 3 p.m. That is earlier in the day from our regular scheduled meeting. And I believe that when we had our mid-year and our capital improvement workshop that I believe Celeste had mentioned that date already. So it shouldn't be a surprise. 2 is to provide direction to staff pertaining the 2025 summer meeting schedule. 3, consider the closure options of City Hall for Christmas and New Year holiday. And 4, to approve the cancellation of the January 5th, 2026 regular meeting. The summer meeting schedule, in the last couple of years, we canceled the first meeting in July, first meeting in September. But there's the whole list of all of the meetings. It's up to council, whatever you would like to do. So for your consideration, I've given you all of those dates. The second meeting in July, we like to have, because we do all of the public hearings for our CFDs, our LOMD, our assessments, any of those things. And so keeping that one is important, and keeping the first meeting in August is important, because if something needs to be continued from the public hearing of the second meeting in July, the August 4th meeting still works, and we still meet our deadline to the county for any assessments. The second meeting is, or excuse me, first meeting in September and the first meeting in July have always worked very well for staff, so that's what we would recommend, but of course it's entirely up to you how you would like to do that. And then the Christmas and New Year holiday, last year the way the holidays fell, you graciously gave us both weeks off, but I don't feel like I can righteously ask for that this year when there's days that we could be here working. So I gave you 2 options, one being still work Monday and Tuesday, December 22nd, 23rd. We would have the 2 days that we would get off is the Christmas Eve and the Christmas Day. And of course we have Fridays. And so the first option would be to take from Christmas Eve day all the way through until Monday, January the 6th. Option number 2 would be for us to work the Monday and the Tuesday of each of those weeks and just have the 4 days, which would be Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, off. So those are our 2 options, and council, whatever you would like to do, we would appreciate either one. And last but not least, we usually cancel the first meeting in January, because if we're not here or there's holidays and we have staff that are gone even if we are closed sometimes, so it's hard to get the packets together, so we usually cancel that meeting anyway. So that's our request, to cancel that January 6th meeting. So with that, I will answer any questions. Sorry. January 5th, yes, sorry. 2026. There's my sixth, yeah.
There's a 6 in there somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, do you want us to take one item at a time?
One at a time, yes,
Okay,
please.
So, the meeting dates for summer have always worked well, and I'm sure staff has given a lot of time to it. I have no objections. We'll go ahead.
I don't have any objections to it.
Objections? Are we all good on the summer schedule?
Which one are we talking
Taking
about?
off July 7th and September 2nd. September 2nd follows Labor Day, Monday.
No problem.
It's fine.
Yes.
Okay, so this is okay do we all agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And then, the next item is the City Hall closure. Well, let's start with the easiest one, January 5th. I think everybody will agree that's also a common day that's taken off. Do we want to take that one? Does anyone have any objection to that?
Oh, I don't have any objections to it. I thought the city staff would probably prefer that one because it gives them more time
Yes.
off, so.
What you're talking about?
Yeah, let's start with the last one, yes, on the 5th.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
No
so
problem.
we'll vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's 5. Okay, so let's go to,
Also,
there was
the budget.
Yeah, we skipped one.
oh, did we?
Yes.
Oh, we sure did, shoot. Okay, well, we had that on our calendars already from
Right.
the last budget meeting, so is there anybody that is not okay with that date?
I do, Mayor. So, I know there's 3 of us that work full-time. So, the one that just passed, if I would have not actually attended, then I think the meeting would have not been able to proceed, correct? Because you at least need 3 council members for the budget?
Yes, there would not have been a quorum.
There would have been quorum. Okay. I was so close of not coming in. I was going to call you because something popped up at the district. So I just want to see if we can probably schedule like around a time that works for every single one of us during a convenient time instead of a 3 p.m. schedule.
I'm sure a lot of time went into this schedule. Do you want to check with staff, or did you want to respond to that?
I'm not prepared to answer that at this point. We may have to bring that back to the next meeting. The problem we have with May is that we have our first and third normal meetings. The second meeting of the second Monday is Planning Commission, and I believe we are going to have a Planning Commission meeting for May, which is in this room. So normally we wouldn't want to do that. Normally we do it on an off day. The other complicating factor is Memorial Day. So we could consider a day other than Monday. That would be an option to consider if the council wants to do the meeting later. So that could be suggested as well.
Why don't we just see who would be available to be there that day?
Yeah.
'Cause
That's
I could
that's
be
up to
there.
the council. The council
Yeah.
can, if that's
I
what
can
you want to
be
do,
there.
you can do that.
You can be
I
there,
can be there. Can you be there?
I can be there.
Yes.
so it's not an issue. You just either make it or you don't.
Like I said, Eric, the first one, if I would have not came, it would have been a waste of time for everybody because 2 of us weren't here and I was about to not be here. So I want to make sure everybody attends the next meeting.
Right.
And that's why I'm bringing this topic over for
Right,
everyone
that's
to
why-
understand, and we can agree if we're going to be showing up. Even if I won't show up, at least now we know in advance that two of the other council members will actually be here, so it'll be a total of 4.
And that's, yeah, we just,
Yes, but I'm just trying to clarify based on your actions, so thank you.
Hey, Edgar, I guess I have a question for you. What time would accommodate your schedule, just so we would know? Would it be better to 4 o'clock, or would it be?
Yeah, so I get off at 4:30, and Will knows very well that I attend our district attorney office, so sometimes I have to be there. I attend meetings with our students and parents, so those are mandatory. But sometimes I do work around my schedule. But like that one that just passed, I was so close to not coming that it would have been everybody's waste of time just sitting everything up. I would just want to make sure that moving forward, it works around 3 of our full-time staff members that actually have work. So just kind of making sure that in the future, now that we know that John and Jeff is going to be attending, I don't have to worry about making a close call.
Well, the 19th is a council meeting, so I don't think we could change the time, if we change the time.
It's just for the budget. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could change it, you know, it would just delay. You know, there's no requirement that, you know, it would obviously push back our city council meeting start time. So that would be the only thing. But because I don't think an hour will be sufficient to get through the budget. So again, this is up to the five of you
Yeah,
to
I'm
decide.
fine like it is, so.
Yeah, I don't think there's a perfect way to do it, so I think this is gonna work the best the way that.
Yeah, no,
it is.
right now, this is, you guys just, make sure that you guys are gonna be here for that day, so I don't have to worry about it.
Can you watch the meeting from work?
Not during that time. I have that specific time blocked from my schedule already, but, at least I know two of you got, well, all four will be here, so the meeting won't be canceled, so, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so 4-0 on this item, this date and time for budget?
No, it's, I approve.
Oh.
I just wanted to bring that subject up.
Okay. Thank you. And so then we'll go to options 1 and 2 for closure for the holidays. I just want to put it up because staff knows their jobs, what staff's preference is before I make my decision. I'm good with either way. And we'll go individually to see on time. You know your work schedule.
I will take that.
Because there's vacations to take into account, et cetera.
Right. The holidays are typically very, very slow here anyway. We get, I mean, in the years that we have been open between Christmas and New Year's, foot traffic is almost non-existent. Same thing with the counter. The other nice thing now that we didn't have in years past is we have OpenGov permit portal, so people can still conduct business with permits and things like that, even during the closure. So that actually kind of enhances our ability to do that. And you know, quite frankly, you know, there would be, you know, people that probably want to take time off during that time anyway. And so, you know, ultimately we would have, you know, some people here, obviously, if we were open, but it'll probably be a thin staff because we wouldn't need as many people anyway, because like I said, we're, you know, the other thing about it is, you know, public safety is obviously 24/7, so they'll still be around.
And after-hour staff?
And after-hour staff for public works will also be available for anything that comes up as well.
And
So therefore, our recommendation would be option 1.
Okay.
And
that was
Charles
my-
Abbott also, they are still here doing inspections for those kind of things too. So if people still need inspections for their projects, Charles Abbott would still be doing that.
Okay, so option 1 is desired option. So is everyone okay with option 1?
Yep.
Edgar?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so we're good, 5-0. There you go. Okay.
Did we get I'm sorry, I didn't catch if we had a vote on the summer schedule.
We did.
Okay.
July 7th and
Right.
September 2nd.
September 2nd.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 11, letters of support and opposition for various state legislative bills. There are 4. Will, are you taking that?
Yeah. Can I switch my? Yes. Keith, please.
Thank you. Ah, there we go. Much better. Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. There are currently thousands of bills in Sacramento making their way through the committee process. As a matter of fact, one's very relevant that you'll learn in a second. Cal Cities takes a position on various bills that have impacts, both positive and negative, on cities. Let's see, 3 bills in particular we believe have a large enough impact that we are recommending position letters from the city of Calimesa. A 4th bill is one that also has the support of Cal Cities and has been authored by our own Assembly member Greg Wallace, and that was written at the urging of the city of Calimesa, so I'll talk about that one last. The first is a letter of opposition for Senate Bill 79, authored by Senator Scott Wiener. And this is yet another bill by Senator Wiener that erodes local control over land use decisions. This bill would allow transit agencies to override local zoning and planning regulations on land those agencies own. They can basically build whatever they want on agency-owned land. So while no transit agency currently owns land in the city, we could be impacted by this bill one day if that were to ever happen in the future. Additionally, it is important to stand firm against the continued attacks from Sacramento on city's land use authority, which is one of the most fundamental functions the city has. Cal Cities has strongly opposed this bill, and our letter would state our strong opposition to this latest attack on local control. The second letter is a letter of opposition to Senate Bill 634, authored by Sasha Renee Perez. At the City Council, as the City Council will recall, the city recently implemented anti-camping ordinances in response to the U.S. Supreme Court decision in Johnson versus Grants Pass. This bill would essentially severely limit these ordinances, which have been effective tools for our sheriff's deputies to be making our streets and parks safer for residents and businesses. It would prohibit cities from enforcing these ordinances against anyone experiencing homelessness. This bill is counter to the governor's executive order, which encouraged cities to adopt policies to address homeless encampments, which would put us in a lose-lose position, either ignore the governor's executive order or ignore the law. Now, based on this, I would expect that the governor will likely veto this bill. Nevertheless, staff believes this is bad public policy, which is why we recommend approving this letter of opposition to SB 634. The next one is a letter of support for Assembly Bill 650, authored by Diane Papon. This would make much needed changes to the housing element review process by the California Department of Housing and Community Development. The city struggled to get certification, as hundreds of other cities in California did as well, to get certification on the housing element in the latest cycle. It took 6 rounds of reviews, many of which were inconsistent with previous reviews, and the goalposts kept moving because of turnover at HCD and differences of opinion on interpretation of housing law. This bill will make changes to the process that would remedy that would directly remedy actually some of the city's negative experiences. We see this as a direct benefit to the city of Calamasa, so staff recommends approval of this letter of support. Finally, we're recommending a letter of support for Assembly Bill 1476, authored by Assemblymember Greg Wallace. This bill is a follow-up to last year's Assembly Bill 2410, which would allow the grab-and-go meals that we used to have as a meal option for senior nutrition programs. Now, as you know, AB 2410 was written as a result of staff lobbying our lawmakers on behalf of our senior center and our senior citizens, and the successful grab-and-go meal program we had in place. We are pleased that Assemblymember Wallace has taken this legislation up again this year. In addition to this recommended letter of support, I will be going to Sacramento tomorrow to testify in support of AB 1476 alongside Assemblymember Greg Wallace in front of the Assembly Committee on Aging and Long-Term Care. So that concludes my staff report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are we all familiar with these bills, and are we acceptable to staff recommendation? Should we take all 4? Can we take all 4 in one vote?
Yeah,
Well,
you can.
Actually, it's just consensus right now.
You can just do it all in one motion.
Okay. I'll take a motion then to approve items, recommendations by the city for letters 1 through 4.
Emphatically move.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Thank you. Good luck tomorrow. With your voice.
Thank you. I know. Thank you.
Okay, item number 12. Introduction and first reading of ordinance number 410, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Calamasa, California, amending sections 9.05.030, 9.050, sounds the same, 9.5. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hardly read this. 9.05040, 9.05050, 9.05090, 9.05100. 905-110, 905-120, 905-140, and 905-1.180 of the California Municipal Code related to the Mobile Home Park Rent Stabilization Program pertaining to the implementation of a hearing officer process and repeal of the Mobile Home Rent Stabilization Board.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor and Council. So at your March 17th meeting, Council directed the issuance of an RFP, request for proposals, seeking mobile home rent stabilization hearing officer services in place of the mobile home rent stabilization board processes. Staff has commenced with the RFP process, and RFPs are due to the city May 1st by 2 p.m. Pursuant to the changes from the Mobile Home Rent Stabilization Board to a hearing officer, amendments are necessary to the municipal code to replace the provisions related to the Mobile Home Park Rent Stabilization Board process with the procedures for appointment of hearing officers and the conduct of evidentiary hearings before a hearing officer. A draft red line version of the ordinance 410, was provided to you in your packet, and including those amendments in the necessary sections that Mayor just read forever. Council further directed that the appeal process remain as it is, with the City Council serving as the appeal body from decisions of the hearing officer. So no changes were made in the ordinance for that section, and that appeal process remains as is. Upon approval of the ordinance, it will take 30 days from the date of second reading that we plan to occur at the May 5th meeting, and staff will return with revisions to the administrative rules at a future meeting. There is a resolution that adopts the administrative rules that go along with the ordinance, and those are quite lengthy, so we will be working on those and bringing those back soon. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. The ordinance, as you see, is redlined. All that was changed was everywhere where it said board, it now says hearing officer, and all the processes that the board would do, the hearing officer would remain to do those same processes. So processes haven't changed, it's just who's going to be doing those.
And we've received verbal testimony today, and there's no there are no written requests for comment.
Right.
On this item. Thank
Right.
you. Okay, so why don't we open up for discussion now? Do we have issues?
Yeah, just a couple questions. So the reason we're going to having an individual do this is because we currently don't have enough people on the board. Is that correct?
We do not currently have a board, that is correct.
How long has it been since we've had a full board?
Probably since 2015.
Okay, so it's been some time. Okay, so the appeal process is going to stay the same, and we'll have a hearing officer or somebody that's an attorney or
Right.
or a judge in these matters that's versed in these laws, that will follow the laws and be able to make decisions
Yes.
in accordance with those laws.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
an unbiased decision, and we have our Amy Grayson, who is our mobile home attorney for the city, will be involved with us as staff, and of course, the hearing officer, the park owner side, park residents side as well when it comes to any kind of application.
Understood. That's all I have. Thank you.
Does anybody want to ask questions?
That's what we're doing.
I don't have any questions. I'll just give my comments now, but
Okay.
I don't have any specific.
Okay. Thank you, John.
So my question is somewhat related to, I think, what Councilmember Cundiff was asking. So I think what was motivating our decision to go with a hearing officer in lieu of a board was the historic difficulties with filling a board.
That's
Right.
correct, and the complexity of these applications.
Right, the complexity of the applications is a secondary issue as well. My understanding is the board, we haven't had a complete board since 2015, but in addition to that, we do have a board. There's lots of, I guess, ordinances or provisions for residents who decisions are being made for a certain,
Right, so
Yeah,
the
can you
board.
unpack that for us? You know
Yeah,
where I'm
so
going
the
with
board consists of 5 members and 2 alternates. One member position is a park resident representative. There would be an alternate resident representative as well. Then there would be a park owner representative, and then an alternate park owner representative. Then the other 3 members would be citizens at large who don't live in a park, do not have any family members who live in a park, no associations with a mobile home park at all, and be obviously a resident of Calamasa. And they serve at different terms of years. There's a 3-year term, a 2-year term, and a 1-year term for the citizens at large. The other 2 terms are 2 years per term.
And
And
just, oh, sorry, go ahead. I was just going to add on the park owner and the park resident spot, the alternates for each of those have to be from different parks.
Right, right. And so if the resident representative or the park owner representative happens to be the one that the park application has come in for, then they could not, that's when the alternate would step in to take care of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this hearing officer that would take the place of the board, they would obviously be a professional, so they would be an unbiased decision maker. They don't really have skin in the game, right? So they're another just rationale for that is they're supposed to be an objective, unbiased third party looking at evidence and facts and making a decision. All right. So my understanding as well is that residents will still retain a voice in the process, right?
Absolutely.
Yep. And would they also have any remedy or recourse, which I imagine they would, in the case of an unreasonable determination was made?
Yeah, either side, depending on who is not in agreement with the decision that is made, has the right to appeal the decision of the hearing officer to you as the city council. So that could be the resident or the park owner, depending on. Right, right. It's the same
Okay.
process as now.
Okay, thank you.
And then I had a question. The attorney would be the same whether we have a board or we get a hearing officer. Would the attorney be the same? We'd have to have an attorney for legal process.
Yes,
It would be,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, just want to confirm that.
Yep.
Okay, John. Oh, I'm sorry, Edgar, I can't see you or hear you.
Sorry, I was blocking.
I know, I know. Get out of the way. Do you have any questions?
You always forget about me, Linda.
I
so,
do,
yes.
I do. I don't see you, that's why. I'm positive.
Well, I was actually one of the council members that said no to moving forward with this because I heard, the residents and from that area based on, I don't want their voice to be taken away and the concerns of what I'm seeing that could potentially happen if we should just what Elizabeth and everybody else actually brought up by potentially if there's any rent increase, they can become homeless. And that's something that I do not want that to happen within our community and within our residents. So that is a big concern that I have and I still do. I was looking at the on all the reds that was included and what was removed as well too. There was a lot of changes because I see a lot of what was removed on the where area city council with adoption 905 and others included and just kind of changing the words from an officer as well. Another thing too that I noticed on the agenda was that on the fiscal impact, it states that there's no fiscal impact as a result of this item, but when there be a fiscal impact once the officer comes in and takes the role of that, because that is, don't we have to pay now from somebody from the outside?
The action for putting the ordinance in place does not have a fiscal impact. The fiscal impact will become when the hearing officer is selected in the fiscal impact, because we don't know, number one, we wouldn't know what that is until we get a bid and what that would be. The funding source would be the accumulated funds from from various fees that we collect on that though.
Okay. Another one too was I'm hearing a lot that a lot of the residents from that area was they weren't informed about these positions going up. So I just want to get a better understanding of the process of the community outreach for these board members, for them to be aware. How did that went out? Did you guys walk through those communities and and so how was?
We post vacancies as we are legally required to. We post vacancies on our website, also in our 3 posting places, which is the library, the city hall, and the senior center. We do have applications from 4 people in that park, but again, they would not be able to participate because it is involving their park.
It
But
also,
if
it
it-
also happens when there's a new council person. So there are opportunities for people to.
Yeah, it's the same as the planning commission, the parks commission, the library commission. We got applications for all of those as well, and we advertise them the exact same way. So.
And we also advertise in the paper from time to time.
Well, just
speaking because this is a very touchy subject and a sensitive subject, because it is affecting our senior residents here in the community. Can we do a little bit more outreach before we move forward? I know the rest of the council members approved it, to kind of see if we can get some board members approved for this before we officially make everything. So and then based on what we collect back, we can move forward with this.
I think that's probably a question
Right.
for your fellow council members.
I can speak to my experience. I've been on council since 2016, and I sat on this commission for a year or two. I've sat on actually 3 different commissions. They were all of interest to me, being a new resident here. I came here in '06. And there were years when there was no activity, and so your term is 4 years. And so if nothing happens, you don't go to a meeting. And so I wanted to participate and be a part of that because my background is public housing. It didn't happen. And so I changed to 2 other commissions of my choosing to be, active in the community. And that's part of the problem too. People don't step up. It's complicated. It's emotional. It's an emotional decision. You're looking at people making decisions who don't even live in your park for you. And so there are a lot of factors. It's a very technical position to be in whenever an owner decides they want to make improvements to their property, which is their right to do. But we have processes in the city to handle that. It is an emotional situation, and that I shouldn't say no one wants to see a senior have to pay more rent if they don't have the money. That happens every year. You get a little bit more Social Security, but then something else goes up. So it's a very emotional and technical situation to occur, and it's difficult for us as it is for the residents, and we all feel for that. We all live here together.
And the board, they only meet on an as-needed basis.
Right,
It's not like the
right.
planning commission or Parks and Trails or
Right.
library where they meet once a month. It's only on an as-needed basis.
So residents will always have a voice. They will always have a voice here at a meeting, and they're welcome to contact staff. They're welcome to document irregularities and what have you. That is all taken into account. This is a proposed change to be a more effective way to meet the needs of an owner wanting to make improvements and protecting our residents. This is protection for us, for our residents, and also that it's a more efficient way to do business.
And to the technical point, I think it's important to note that, even, let's say, regardless of,
It's your
I'm
voice.
having horrible luck tonight. Maybe, is my voice really this bad tonight? Jeez.
Yeah, bronchitis.
Yeah. Regardless if there's a board or whether there's maybe? Yeah? Okay, let's try that. Regardless of whether it's... Is that the new one?
It's your electronic devices over there.
It's
Mr.
gonna
Cedar.
like be like a news conference with like 10 microphones in front of me. Okay, let me see if I can remember where I was at. Regardless of whether there is a board or a hearing officer, if a decision is contrary to the law and it gets appealed to the city council and the city council rules in a certain way, let's say the rules against a rent increase, let's say, that does not guarantee that the rate increase will still not be incurred, because then the next step is litigation. And if the courts find that a rate increase, of the theoretical rate increase was valid, the rate increase would still be passed on. But there's not a thing that the city council can do, that the mobile home rent control board can do, that staff can do. Obviously, the reason we have an attorney is to defend the decisions made by all 3 of those, whether it's a hearing officer, a board, a city council, whichever. That is the goal, is to defend the position that was ultimately taken. But if the court does not agree, the rent increase could still be imposed. So I think it's important to understand that too. It's that just because if the city council says nope, we're not going to improve it, doesn't guarantee that it still will not come to fruition. So I think it's important for the council to understand that, and that's not a question of whether a hearing officer versus a board. I think it's it's important for the council and the public to understand that.
Thank you.
And I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying I'm just trying to be pragmatic. That's all.
Do we have any more comments?
Yeah, I just have some comments. I know this is kind of a difficult discussion, but I just want to make some points that, that this rent control was put into place to protect the residents. That's why it's here. So I think my thought process, the discussion is what's the best way, most efficient, effective way to utilize rent control, meaning we're not talking about abolishing it at all. The conversation is how do we use it? It was there to protect the residents, so how do we do that in the most efficient and effective way? So that's how I'm looking at it. So I think this hearing officer is the most efficient, effective way to do that, because their job, they're going to be an attorney, they're going to understand this legal process, so they're going to gather the evidence just like we do at times. We're going to listen to both sides. They're going to balance all that evidence against this ordinance that's in place to protect the residents. So they're going to have to do it in this legal process using this ordinance that we've all read. So if it's not there, then they're going to have to enforce essentially this ordinance. So it's still there, and it's still going to be in place to protect them. So I just want to make that point. So I'm just looking at it as an efficiency standpoint. So I think that's the most effective way to do it, and it's still going to be there to protect them. And the council, like it's been stated, is going to be there if there's an appeal. It's going to come to us after that, regardless. So I guess I'm in favor of moving forward with the hearing officer.
And at this point, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have an owner who's coming forward and we have to deal with it. We don't have a...
We do. Yeah, as we've heard earlier, the application has been received. It's currently in the review process. And then there will be determination whether the application is complete or not. If not, it'll extend the process. So there's very specific time hooks as to the amount of time that staff has to review it. And we review every single aspect of the application against every single aspect of the ordinance to make sure it's complete. And if there's things that are missing, there's anything that is missing, even one thing, it will not be declared complete, and it'll be sent back to the applicant to make those fixes.
And so we will continue to collect information from residents as they find deficiencies and harassment or whatever the situation may be. They can submit it to the city.
Yeah,
and
and
it'll be kept for them.
on some of the other issues that are maybe indirectly related, like elder abuse and that kind of thing, those are obviously very serious things that there are avenues that need to be explored on those ends outside of this process. Yes. And also keep in mind that much of the regulation for mobile home parks in general is through the California Department of Housing and Community Development as well. So I think it's important to keep that in mind, that HCD has involvement in certain aspects, not on this aspect, but on other aspects of mobile home parks.
Also, this isn't the first time this is being done, right? It's been done by other cities.
Absolutely not. No, and that's where we get our list of hearing officers based on what other cities are doing, including our neighbor to the north.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, to residents will need to start gathering their information for their side, because they will have that option to submit their opposition to the petition to me, but not yet. So they need to start compiling that, keeping that together. When it's time, they will submit all that to me.
And they will be notified of that?
Yes, they will be notified of that, yes.
I want to add something too. So based on some concerns that they brought up, like the grants and stuff like that, that's the proof that you're
I have no
speaking
knowledge
behind,
of
right?
grants. Yeah, I have no knowledge of grants. I have no knowledge of anything that they spoke about until I review the petition that's submitted. I don't have any of that knowledge.
And
But that's
even-
what they need to collect and
But
and
those are
provide
things
to
that they
you,
need to
right?
collect and provide to support their side, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that would be stuff that would be submitted for the hearing, and all that evidence is vetted out
Yes.
from park owner, park residents, all of that.
And it all
Yes.
becomes part of the administrative record for the public hearing.
Okay. I just want to make sure that those things are being addressed and
Of course.
they're being heard as well too. So, thanks.
And we appreciate you all coming and sharing with us. We do listen to you. Thank you. But there is a process, and we will follow it. So at this point, then, if there's no other discussion, the recommendation is that the City Council adopt first reading by title only, ordinance number 410, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Calimesa, California, amending sections 905.030, .40, .50, .90, 100, 110, 120, 140, and 180 of the Calimesa Municipal Code related to the mobile home park rent stabilization program pertaining to the implementation of a hearing officer process and repeal of the mobile home rent stabilization board.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Did I get an aye? I can't see you.
Yeah, I said aye.
Okay, thank you, that's 5-0. Thank you for coming tonight and expressing your comments. At this point, it takes us to mayor and council member reporting of county and regional meetings / conferences. Eric, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before you, Darlene was gracious enough to print out the information from the Governance, Transparency, and Labor Relations Policy Committee that I attended in March. So you have that for your review. Besides that, I had no other meetings that I attended other than the Easter egg event, which was this last Saturday. To that, I'd like to say to the staff, they did a great job. There was a lot of kids there. It was a well-attended event, and it was really nice to see everybody out there enjoying themselves and having a good time. So I just wanted to thank staff for that. And then I did get an email that came from Southern California Air Quality Management Department, SCAQMD, and it was to amend rules 1111 and 1121. And this came to me by an individual who is part of a cost of living council. And I won't go into the whole email, but essentially they're in opposition of both of these amendments due to the fact that it's going to, if approved, are going to increase the cost per household approximately $1,500 a year because of these new regulations or these amendments to these. So what I'd like to do is direct our city manager, if everyone is inclined to agree, to further look into this and then possibly bring forward a letter that you can sign, Madam Mayor, in opposition of that, if in fact all of this information is sound and credible.
I received the same email. Did you get one as well, Will?
I was forwarded the
Okay.
email, yes.
Is that it?
That's all I have.
Okay. John?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I didn't attend any regional meetings. I just want to make some quick comments. Our pavement rehabilitation is in full swing, so I just wanted to point that out. Some of the streets are actually completed, so it's been a big priority for the previous couple councils. It's a big, significant investment on the part of our taxpayers, so it's out there. Things are looking good. We're making good progress. Still some more streets to do, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Edgar?
Yes. So I got a few exciting news. So being at Beaumont Unified School District for going for 3 years, going in there and overseeing our districts and schools attendance and supporting our admin and kind of restructure everything in there as well too. I am glad to say that we actually won the state SARB award for the state of California, and there are roughly 977 school districts within our in the state of California, and we were actually one of the 4 within the Riverside County region. So Beaumont Unified, I know I announced an award our last meeting, but this is our second award within our whole school district. So I want to say thank you to all of our school district employees, our admin, every single one down to the custodians that without them, we would have not won our award. And I'm going to be going to Cosqua next week, and we'll be receiving the award, as well with in the month of May, we're going to be presenting at the Riverside County of Education on providing the structure and everything, how we actually decrease our school attendance by roughly almost 20%. And I just feel very privileged of being there at the school district and making this big change. I believe accountability is a big factor. You know, everybody needs to be accountable based on their actions and what they do in every single row. And because of that, we won their STAR through the state of California, so I'm very proud of that.
Can you tell me what the acronym is?
So the STAR model is it's provided by the students, by the state superintendent, which is the Model School Attendance Review Board receptions. So it's technically, it starts at the school side. We consider everything by tiers. They provide support and resources and removing any barriers at the site level, which will be at the school. After the second warnings, it comes to me at the district level, which will be tier 3. From there, if nothing have resolved, which I've been getting a lot of good feedback. A lot of our communities, a lot of our parents or students are opening up, and we're actually able to provide resources and anything that they're able to remove those barriers. However, of course, there are a few which sometimes families are struggling with homelessness and other challenging things around their life. Then I have to make that decision of referring them to the district attorney's office, and that's where the challenges kind of come on hand, that I have to make that decision whether to take them or not, based on what I see, based on working with the school sites, and sometimes I have to provide those citations and misdemeanors, and that's when I work with our RSR officers. But this year has been amazing because I wasn't able to refer a lot of them out, which that's amazing news, because that's the last thing I want to do is refer anybody to the district attorney's office.
We're talking attendance, right?
Yes.
So hopefully those are our students and families.
That is correct, because
Wonderful.
they reside within our county and they go to Beaumont Unified.
Wonderful, thank you. Is that it? Is that your comments? Do you have any more comments?
I got one thing. Just want to make sure that I want to make sure that your voice were heard, everybody here, and your concerns. And please reach out to us, and we'll follow up. I'll make sure that we'll follow up as well too. Thank you. That's all.
Jeff?
Thank you, Mayor. I did not attend any regional or local meetings, so that concludes my report.
Thank you. I too, we've been, we go to a lot of meetings, and so we thought that it was more efficient if we supply summaries of our meetings and we supply it with council. So if you see something that you'd like a copy of, you're free to request it. So the meetings that I attended, on the 8th, I attended the Calamasa breakfast meeting where we had Craig and Sons. It was very entertaining, but I learned so much about pests, termites, and what have you. But they did bring props. They brought mouse traps, and they snapped them, and everybody screamed. It was hilarious, but very, very effective. Yeah, they talked a lot about that. They have props. There's a lot, but instead of pesticides, they have a lot of other alternatives. It's worth looking into. And actually, they even do work here, don't they? Craig and Sons, okay. Attended RCTC commission meeting, and I passed out a copy. One of the things I wanted to share, though, is RCTC is using a company called Replica, and it's for data management. And the good thing about this is that we're a partner of RCTC. We're a member of them. And member cities can have access to all this data, and there's a process to follow it. So it's good for all of us. And also, they talked about the removal of the call boxes. I think we talked about that at the last meeting. So they're also looking into alternatives in the future. Everybody in the state is dealing with this. The contractor that actually is supposed to maintain those boxes is not doing that. I attended a very interesting 2-day workshop. Well, I only attended 1 day. This is by San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District workshop. And I brought information that I'll pass out to the council, and if anybody's interested, we can get a copy here. But it's like Water 101. It has all the information about the processes of water, when you two are experts on that. And so I thought that would be good basis for all of our you know, we don't know a lot about water. I don't know, well, I'm just speaking for myself. Also, I didn't have a chance to go to the tour. They're doing a tour just much like Yucaipa Valley. I attended the annual Riverside Victims Vigil in Riverside. This is the district attorney's event that he does every year, and they have people volunteer to read the names of people who have died within the year and the ages. So it's a very emotional support for victims. The families are there, and they appreciate the relevance of having their family members mentioned. This is interesting too. On the 16th, I attended Beaumont's 2nd Street extension groundbreaking. This is 2nd Street is the street that goes, if you're in Beaumont, you get off on Highland Springs, it takes you by Walmart. So the 2nd Street extension is behind Kohl's to Pennsylvania. By doing that, they're going to alleviate a lot of the traffic in Highland Springs. It gives everybody an opportunity to get out of town. So that's a good thing. And the next project after that is a grade separation to do the same. Let's see, and then I have a bad back. I was out of commission all last week. But I'd like to bring back for, well, let me give the good news. I don't know if anybody has seen the outdoor play Ramona. It's in its 102nd year. Everyone, all residents will receive a flyer giving them a substantial discount ticket at $25. I think the cheapest ticket's $94. So take advantage. They have a new director. He's actually a native. It's a very interesting outdoor play. It's fantastic. And they have good food, and it's a lot of fun. It's hot, but it's a lot of fun. And then I just wanted to two things. You know, we as council persons are very interested in what goes on in this city. And I felt so bad that I couldn't go to the egg hunt because I would have been there. My back was up, but I think it's important for all of us, our council members and commissioners, to go to these events and show the community we are interested in everything that goes on here. We're bringing activities to our city, and we should support that. So I would hope that we get as many people that are representing the city to go to those events. And then the last thing is, I wanted to thank the staff because I heard it was fantastic. It was a great outpouring of kids, and so I'm very proud of our city. And the last thing I wanted to just throw out here, and I think I mentioned to you, Will, I'm a spiritual person, and I have been approached by a pastor wanting to come and do a guest pastor every now and then to do invocations before a meeting. I know at our Lions meetings, it's God Before Country. We do an invocation, and so I just wanted to throw it out there if anybody had any opposition to that. Every so often, if a pastor wanted to come from our community and we show, support our faith-based organizations, if they had any issue with that.
I have no issue with it, and I would support it.
Okay. Edgar?
I support. I just want to, anybody, our directors or somebody here that they might have a different decision based on that, I'll respect that.
Well, it would have to go through a process.
Yeah,
We'll talk about
you
that.
typically, and a lot of cities do this. Typically, it's done before the meeting's officially called to order. Secondly, it's really, the main thing is to make sure that it's open to all denominations.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. So, as long as your rules are objective, like, it should be a Calamasa-based non-denominational, or it's non-denominational, or, it just has to be a Calamasa-based church that will provide the invocation. Those are the only concerns, but as long as we follow that, should be fine.
So could we get some kind of a feedback on that for the future?
Yeah, we'll talk with the city attorney.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll go to city manager comments and reports, and after that, we have a closed session item tonight.
Well,
And Ms. Linda, before I forget.
Yeah,
Yes.
please.
You just reminded me, because actually I did attend the Easter over there
I
at
heard
Summer
that.
Ones, yes. So it was nice, and thank you so much. Your staff was amazing. I was talking to the guys out there, and hey, they put some real work out there, cutting everything with real wood, and they decorate everything for the kids and everything like that. And I know how the education and just the feeling of making those things for the kids, it's very lighting, and the community was really appreciated as well too. So thank you.
I would just say it also supports our staff. when we show up to events, and so thank you all for that. Okay,
Oh,
City Manager report.
okay. Just a quick explanation for my voice. The last month and a half have been pretty rough in terms of just illness. About 5 or 6 weeks ago, I caught something and it knocked me out for a couple of days. And then I didn't escape it because it caught me late last week again. I had jury duty last week and actually was on a jury. And I think I caught something while I was in the middle of that. And the latter part of the week, I started feeling pretty lousy, 104 temperature on late last week. So that was not fun. So that's probably explains why I'm a little bit congested here. So just a word of advice: make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you take your vitamins. All right. I want to thank Councilmember Garcia for getting us hooked up with the University of Redlands. Darlene and I met with some of their staff, and we're going to enter into an agreement with them to provide discounted tuition for employees and their spouses, up to 15% off of tuition. And it's a similar program that UKIPA and Beaumont are involved with. We talked about doing lunch and learns, but we felt that maybe the most efficient way to do that would be to partner with either Beaumont and or UKIPA, and when they have theirs, they would open it up to our employees as well, so they can go in and visit with the University of Redlands staff to learn more about their programs and the tuition discount and whatnot. So
Great
we're
news.
excited about that. So thank you for that, Councilmember Garcia, for getting us hooked up with that. And yes. Oh yeah, that's right. And we can also, and actually that's a great point, because we also can use meeting space at the University of Redlands as part of this agreement as well. So if we have to have any off-site meetings for staff, or if council members want to use it for meeting with people, you can do that. So it's another option. And lastly, just I'm going to echo kind of what the council has said. Big thank you to the staff. Obviously, because of my illness, I wasn't able to attend this past Saturday, but another successful event. They never cease to amaze me in their creativity, in their hard work. And the one comment that I heard, which really warmed my heart, is how efficiently that we ran the event, and just the professionalism, in addition to the fun aspect of it, is great. So I want to thank everybody that's involved, our public works staff, and I am going to point out Yeza and Madi. Great job, you guys did. You guys are phenomenal. And that's all. And last thing, go Kings, go.
Right.
That's all I've got.
Thank you. Okay, so we have legal comment for closed session?
If I got the one that works. City Council will now go into closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, conference with the labor negotiators, the city negotiators, the city manager, and the deputy city manager. This concerns the ongoing negotiations with the Calamasa Professional Firefighters Association.
Thank you. So that at 7:34, we'll go into closed session. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. Thank you both for coming. Hope to see more.